Today's podcast is brought to you by Business Link Media Group. And welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We have a really fascinating topic today.
We really do. I'm super excited to get into this one.
Yeah, me too. So today we are exploring something pretty unique. We're looking at the evolution of leadership, and specifically, we are diving into the Hamilton 40 Under 40 Business Achievement Awards.
Right, which is such an incredible community ecosystem.
It totally is. And, for a lot of people, hitting a milestone like that, getting that kind of major recognition is like, that's the peak of the mountain.
Oh, for sure. You get the award, you take the photos, and it feels like the ultimate finish line.
Exactly. But for a rare few, it's really just page one of a much, much longer story. So today our mission is to explore what happens after that initial milestone, specifically by looking at its natural successor, which is the Alumni Impact Award.
Yeah, and to set the baseline here for you listening, we really need to emphasize the sheer scale of the Hamilton 40 Under 40 program itself. I mean, it launched back in 2012.
Right, over a decade ago.
Exactly. And since then, it has recognized more than 500 emerging leaders. These are people who are already making absolutely incredible, undeniable contributions.
Yeah, across the board, right? Like
And
business, innovation, entrepreneurship.
public service, community impact, all of it.
Yeah.
Being selected for 40 Under 40 is this massive achievement. It reflects so much excellence and dedication. These are people actively transforming their city today.
And that's what's so cool about it. They're already doing the work. And that brings us to the Alumni Impact Award.
What's fascinating here is that the Alumni Impact Award is truly a continuation of that exact same story.
Right. It's not like, oh, here's a totally different thing.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. And it is so vital to understand this. It is not a correction. It is not a second chance.
Yeah, definitely not.
And it's definitely not some, quote unquote, higher level of success. The 40 Under 40 and the Alumni Impact Award just beautifully complement each other. They just represent different moments in a shared leadership journey.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The Alumni Impact Award simply celebrates how these exceptional leaders compound their impact over time.
The way I kind of think about this, it's like the 40 Under 40 Award is recognizing this brilliant architect, right? Like someone who has just drawn their very first game-changing blueprint.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because drawing that blueprint is an incredible feat of vision. It takes immense skill. But the Alumni Impact Award, that's kind of like actually walking through the thriving city that they spent the next decade actually building from those plans.
That is a great analogy. It perfectly highlights the core message we're looking at today. Because careers, they just don't end at 40.
Right. They don't just freeze in time.
Exactly. Recognition captures a moment, but leadership itself is something that compounds. It's about ongoing growth, strengthening your community, mentoring other people, and leaving a legacy.
Okay, but let's unpack this for a second because I want to play devil's advocate here.
Sure, go for it.
If everyone's career trajectory is totally different, like you've got one person who's a local accountant, another is running a massive hospitality empire, and someone else is an international executive.
Right. Totally different worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you even define or measure something like sustained impact in a way that actually means something?
Well, that's the beauty of the Alumni Impact Award. It comes to life in remarkably different ways depending on the leader. It's not about holding on to a specific corporate title.
Oh, so it's not just a status thing.
Not at all. It's about the ripple effects a leader creates. And honestly, the best way to understand this is to look at the first 3 recipients of the award.
Yeah, let's get into the actual stories. So we start with the inaugural recipient from 2023, Tony DeLuca.
Right.
And he was actually a member of the very first 2012 40 Under 40 class.
Which is pretty poetic, honestly.
It really is. So professionally, he is a partner at Pettinelli Master Luisi LLP. He got his CA designation back in 1998, joined the firm in 2003, and then made partner by 2007.
Which is a fantastic, incredibly solid career trajectory.
Definitely. But on paper, if you just read that, someone might ask, how does accounting translate into massive, sustained community impact?
Well, we really have to look at what a partner at a firm like that actually does. Tony's story isn't built on flashy headlines or big PR campaigns. It's built entirely on trust.
Trust. Okay, break that down for me.
So he works primarily with privately held businesses. And when you talk about privately held businesses, you are talking about the literal economic engine of a community.
Like these are the local employers.
Exactly. These are business owners who have their homes, their life savings, their employees' entire livelihoods wrapped up in their company. And Tony is doing that vital behind-the-scenes work helping them navigate everything.
So it's not just, doing the taxes at the end of the year.
Oh, no, not even close. He's guiding growth, daily operations, complex financing, and long-term sustainability. Think about what happens during a sudden economic downturn, or when a family business needs to transition to the next generation.
That's a massive stressor for a family.
Huge. And the person in the room guiding them through that requires a foundational level of trust that you can only build over decades. He's basically acting as the stabilizing force, keeping that local economic engine running.
I love that. It's almost like he's like the root system of an old oak tree.
Right. Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like you might not always see the roots above the ground, but they are this quiet, consistent force that keeps the entire ecosystem stable, no matter what season of opportunity or uncertainty they're in.
Exactly. And that philosophy completely bleeds into his community involvement, too.
Right, because his impact goes way beyond the boardroom. He's been heavily involved with the St. Joseph Healthcare Foundation, the Catholic Youth Organization.
Yeah, and the local soccer clubs, too.
Right, the Mount Hamilton Youth Soccer Club and Hamilton United Soccer Club. So he's taking that same foundational stability and applying it to local healthcare and youth sports.
Which perfectly sets the tone for what sustained impact looks like. It can be foundational, quiet, and trust-based. But then if we pivot to the 2024 recipient, we see a completely different model.
Yeah, it's quite the contrast. We go from Tony's behind-the-scenes trust to something incredibly visible. Which brings us to PJ Mercanti, the 2024 recipient.
Another 2012 alumnus, actually.
Yes, PJ is the CEO of Carmens Group. So tell me, how does a leader in the hospitality space literally reshape the physical experience of a city?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, PJ's theme is really all about vision and city building. Under his leadership, Carmen's Group has expanded into this incredibly diverse portfolio of event venues, hotels, and entertainment destinations.
So he's not just running a single banquet hall.
No, he is creating the actual physical spaces where the city gathers. He served as the president of the Hamilton Urban Precinct Entertainment Group.
Oh, right, the consortium.
Exactly. And they contributed to the long-term vision for major downtown landmarks, First Ontario Centre, First Ontario Concert Hall, and the Hamilton Convention Centre.
That is massive scale. But you know what I find really fascinating about PJ?
What's that?
He has this really prominent creative side, too. Like, he's involved in writing, filmmaking, producing events, alongside all these charitable initiatives.
Yes, he really blends those two worlds.
And if you're listening, just imagine that for a second. Imagine how a leader who blends hard business acumen with that kind of artistic vision can fundamentally change a city's reputation.
It changes everything. It goes from just being a place you live to a destination you actually want to experience. He's literally shaping how people interact with their own city on a Friday night.
Right. He's creating memories.
Exactly. And doing it while raising millions for local causes. It's a highly visible, experiential form of sustained impact.
Okay, so we have Tony's foundational trust, and we have PJ's visionary city building. But what happens when a leader's scope expands way beyond the local level, like to a massive international scale?
Well, that is perfectly embodied by our 2025 recipient, Michael Macaluso.
Yes, a 2014 alumnus this time. And his current title is, well, it's a mouthful. It really is. He is the Executive Vice President and Group President of the Paint, Collision, and Glass business segment at Driven Brands.
The scale of his responsibility is just staggering. We're talking about overseeing approximately 2,000 locations across a North American network.
2,000. That is unbelievable.
Right. And he leads multiple major brands: CarStar, Abra, Fix Auto USA, Mako, Unibon, Autoglass, Now.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting to me. How does someone scale to 2,000 locations, and by the way, speak 3 languages fluently, English, French, and Italian, without just, completely losing touch with their roots?
That's a great question, because normally you'd think someone at that level becomes completely distant, right? Operating out of some ivory tower.
Yeah, exactly. You assume they just become a corporate machine.
But Michael represents this very modern style of leadership. He is widely known as being incredibly strategic, but deeply collaborative. In fact, he's famously described by a very specific phrase: humble but hungry.
Humble but hungry. I really like that.
Yeah. The humble part means he knows he has to rely on the local expertise of his operators on the ground. He listens. And the hungry part is that relentless drive for continuous growth and operational excellence across the entire continent.
But despite all that global reach, he hasn't physically detached from his community, has he?
Not at all. He remains deeply grounded in Hamilton. It's where he was born, it's where he was raised, and it's where he and his wife Daniela are currently raising their 3 sons.
Wow, so he stayed.
He stayed. He proves that leadership doesn't have to become distant as it grows. You can scale globally while keeping your local roots incredibly strong.
That is just such an inspiring trifecta of stories. I mean,
Yeah.
synthesizing this down, we've got Tony showing us the power of quiet foundational trust.
Yeah.
We have PJ showing us how visionary leadership literally reshapes a city's physical experiences. And then Michael showing us how you can scale impact internationally without losing your hometown values.
Exactly. 3 totally different mechanisms, but all demonstrating the exact same thing, sustained impact over time.
And the most exciting part for you listening, the story is still being written right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because selecting just one individual from hundreds of accomplished alumni, I mean, that's never a simple task. But another, Hamilton 40 Under 40 alumnus, will soon join this distinguished group.
I can't wait to see who it is. The talent pool is just so deep.
It really is. So for those following along, the next Alumni Impact Award recipient will be revealed during the Hamilton 40 Under 40 Awards ceremony. That's happening on October 29th, 2026 at Carmens Banquet Centre.
It's going to be an incredible night. And, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that great leadership is not measured by one single moment.
Right.
It grows. It grows through continued contribution, through meaningful relationships, and through the ability to just keep creating impact over time.
I couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a question to mull over.
Oh, I love these.
Whether you are just scouting out, drawing that very first blueprint, or you're decades into your career, what does your next chapter of impact look like?
That's a great question.
Are you building trust behind the scenes? Are you boldly shaping experiences in your community? Or are you scaling your roots to reach new heights? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.